There seems to be no end in sight to the political problems the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal faces. A court interdict stopped this weekend's elective conference from going ahead. So what happens now? To answer that question, we have political analyst Ralph Mathekga joining me now. Ralph, thank you very much for coming in. The elective conference was interdicted. They made that a consultative one. That was cancelled after some chaotic scenes. So the ANC and KZN is a real hot mess right now.
Indeed, I mean, it was not a surprise to see the elective conference being interdicted. Sentiments were already expressed to the effect that there were concerns about the task team that has been set up to prepare the province for this elective conference. Some have actually been saying that that task team conducted itself as if it is the provincial, the PEC, if you like. So it is the reflection of the tensions within the ANC. But over and above that, I do think that what the ANC is confronted with is the difficulty in forging some kind of realignment from Nasrec conference. The factions that went into Nasrec are refusing to die, despite the call for unity and so forth. You do see these factions being resuscitated, and it appears that KZN it's a strategic center for any attempt by those who want to challenge the national leadership of the ANC to actually coalesce there in KZN and mount their mutiny there. I'm afraid the national leadership of the ANC at this point seems to be found wanting. They seems not to be able to actually rein in the provinces. It's not just KZN, and I think that other provinces as well might see KZN in that manner. You have seen Supra Mahumapelu in KZN. You ask yourself, what's he doing there? Are the dynamics of Northwest also going there to KZN? It appears that is the case.
So there was a report as well in the Sunday Times this morning that claimed former President Jacob Zuma was actually behind the collapse of this conference, that he's been going around mobilizing support and that he wanted this to collapse because he didn't want a so-called unity slate. What's your take on this?
Well, I don't know if maybe Mr. Zuma, former president, is being given too much credit here. The reality is that Zuma has to survive the criminal, the trial which is being held in KZN, the corruption trial. And it requires that he mobilizes the support. And there's been an unsuccessful attempt by the national leadership of the ANC to try to isolate him. So he is there. But I also think we need to understand another level to this problem. It's not just about people who are listening to Zuma. It's not about Zuma being in charge of the entire province. I think that what people have identified is that if they can rally around him, even if it's not primarily about what he's interested in, which is surviving that the criminal trial there. If they rally around him, they will be able to hold on to the province and make sure that there is patronage that takes place within the province. At the end of the day, we are dealing here with a network of patronage within the ANC, where provinces are being seized by some interest groups within the ANC, using those the power they have in the provinces to influence the distribution of resources. And in that way, people are realizing that if you want to have a shot in influencing the leadership of the ANC, the national leadership, you better be strong at provinces. So you have this at play in KZN. There is the Zuma factor, but I don't think it is as powerful as people are saying. I do think, however, that there is just another factor where people want to challenge the national leadership, where people are trying to lobby the national leadership, where people are trying to hold on to the patronage networks in the province of KZN.
Gwede Mantashe was booed and heckled in KZN, and the KZN coordinator, Sihle Zigalala, had to apologize actually for the way that he was treated. What does this tell us about how KZN feels about the national leadership and perhaps the respect or even disrespect that it has for national leadership?
I don't really think that they've got much respect, KZN, for the national leadership. And I also think that the national leadership of the ANC, if you have to talk about the top six of the ANC, including Mr. Mantashe, the president, Jesse Duarte, Mahashule, and so forth, you name them, I think there is some level of incoherence. I don't think they speak in one voice. I mean, some are just too silent about this. The president of the ANC, Mr. Ramaphosa as well, the president of the country, he was not there. Probably they wanted to maybe have a conversation with him. He's an absentee boss in KZN, unfortunately. So Mr. Mantashe is a veteran. He understands the party very well. But also, We shouldn't forget that not a long time ago, Mr. Mantashe was one, while he was the Secretary General of the party, he understood KZN very well, announced the growth of KZN when the party was going into the 2012 elective conference in Mangaung. So they know him very well in KZN. He knows them, but they also know him very well. Probably they looked, they said that former SG, we have had enough of you, probably. They know the machination that happens when it comes to the role of the SG. It will be interesting to see how the new SG, the newly elected SG, will strike a rapport with the crowd in KZN. Maybe they should have sent Mr. Magashule there.
How does the national ANC leadership sort out this mess? You mentioned now that Cyril Ramaphosa has been quite absent. Do you think that deploying him to KZN will make any kind of difference?
It has always been my view that Mr. Ramaphosa needs to do the legwork. This is not going to solve itself. And I think that the impression that comes out this past weekend in KZN, it says that if he's trying to cement his control within the party, seems to be doing it through proxies. He's not there himself. He said the G7, of course, is attending the issues of national importance, but if he cannot control his own party, I don't think he will be capable of controlling the state. So he needs to do the legwork. Members of the ANC, the top leadership of the ANC, they need to hold hands and do the legwork. They need to be on the ground and try to convince people to align themselves away from those pre-Nasrec factions and try to build the party forward. With this attitude that one sees in KZN, a little bit of lack of clarity in the Northwest province, one wonders how the ANC can actually, this talk that we hear about early elections. With the provinces that are in this current state, I really wonder what is the thinking behind even this mere talk of early elections that the ANC is reported, when we hear some of this report in the media that they're interested in that. There is a great deal of problems across the provinces. Legwork need to be done. There is no substitute to that. The leadership of the ANC have to go to the ground.
And it's something that's going to take time. It's not something that could happen overnight.
It's not something that's going to happen overnight. And also the problem, the genuine problem that they are confronted with, that Mr. Ramaphosa is also confronted with, is that he's supposed to stabilize the country before the election. But at the same time, he's supposed to stabilize the ANC. He cannot become the president if his party does not win the election in 2019. And equally, there are expectations that he needs to be at that G7 and so forth. So it's all about a balance. This work is not going to carry itself out. People need to get to the ground and do the work. And I think that KZN is actually a hotspot for the ANC. It has become a stress test for Mr. Ramaphosa's leadership within the ANC. And I think if there is any place of priority that he needs to be jumping to whenever there is a problem, it is KZN.
Political analyst Ralph Mathekga, thank you very much for coming in this afternoon. We're going to a break now. When we're back, more news. Stay with us.